For our buns, I am going to make pretzel buns. So I have 1.5 cups of lukewarm water, 1 packet of instant yeast. We're just going to give that a quick stir in. And let it stand for 1 minute so that the yeast will soften and start to bloom. Okay, after 1 minute, we are going to stir in 1 teaspoon of salt and a tablespoon of brown sugar. Along with 1 tablespoon of melted butter. Then we are going to slowly add 3 3/4 cup of flour, up to 4 cups depending on the dough itself as it gets going. You don't want to get it too stiff. So I'm just going to put a couple of cups in to start with. I cheat, I do use a stand mixer. Kneading things by hand is not my favorite. The dough is starting to come together in a ball. It's looking a little bit shaggy, so I'm not going to add any more flour. I have about 1/2 cup or so of flour left, so we're within range. Now that it's a ball, I'm just going to turn the speed up and let it knead for 3 minutes. Okay, after the 3 minutes, your dough is going to be fairly sticky, so wet your hands a little bit, just a little bit, so that it doesn't stick to you. Turn it out onto a floured board. You don't need a whole lot of flour because we're not going to actually try to add more flour to it. Get over there. And just shape it into a ball and cover it with a cloth and let it rest for 10 minutes. While your dough is resting, do start your pot of boiling water with baking soda in it. So you want about 9 cups of water to 1/2 cup of baking soda. And you need that to be boiling for the next step. So this is where we make either buns or pretzels. I'm making buns. If you wanted pretzels, you would cut it into equal portions and then make like a long skinny rope and twist them into a pretzel shape. Today, I'm not doing that, I'm doing buns. So, now 4 is going to be too big, but I think if I cut them into 3s, that should be about the right size. So let's just twist them up here into a little bun shape. And you are going to have to flatten them. So they will puff up. And have a baking sheet with parchment paper ready on the side. So if you want the pretzely kind of markings on the top, And just take your knife and give it a little slice, whatever pattern you deem fit, or just random. And our next step is to boil them. Okay, this is the important step when you're making pretzels. We need to boil them in the soda water. And you don't want to put too many in because you don't want them squishing together. So with this size, just a couple at a time, and you only want them in 30 seconds aside where they start to get a metallic taste. And this will help the yeast rise. Just give them a turn over. Come on, if you can. There we go. Yeah, we'll get that one on there too. Okay, and now to go in that lovely tray of pretzel buns goes in the oven for 12 to 15 minutes, just until they're nice and golden brown. And they look absolutely lovely out of there. Once we pull them out of the oven, just pull them off the sheet, put them on a rack. And they're very hot, but you can use oven mitts if you like. So we don't want to leave them on the parchment paper any longer than necessary, or they will start to go soggy on the bottom. So to make the hamburgers, I have 430 grams of lean ground beef. I'm going to add probably about a quarter of a cup of fine breadcrumbs. I have a pinch of salt and pepper. A little sprinkle of thyme. And I'm just going to break a little bit of oregano in there. There we go. It smells so good. Okay, now we're going to mix it all together. And you notice there's no egg in this mix. We are not making a meatloaf. Good squishes together. Okay. If it's still really wet, add a little bit more breadcrumb, but you don't want to add too much. Then we make our patties. And you can start off by making them as a ball until you get them as big as you want. Or if you're making sliders, as little as you want. And then flatten them. And just put your thumb against the edge and flatten with your fingers. It'll keep the edge from breaking up. Now, since these will shrink, even though it is that lean ground beef, they will shrink somewhat. So just make sure you're making them big enough and you don't end up with accidentally having sliders when you meant for full-size burgers. Onto a plate. And you do want to make these a little bit ahead because you want to refrigerate them to get them good and firm. So when you grill them or fry them, depending on how you're going to cook them, they don't just immediately fall apart. We're just going to cover those with some plastic wrap and put them in the fridge till we're ready to cook them. Alright, just about time for dinner. The hamburgers are on the grill pan, and whether you choose to cook them on the pan in the house or on the barbecue. Unfortunately, it's pouring rain outside, so I'm not using the barbecue. Just make sure they're cooked to your liking. They will take some time, so allow for that. They're not going to be quick cooked, they are thick. And you do want them to rest a bit before you eat them. Before you put them on the bun. Excuse the bubbling sound in the background. That is my deep fryer because we did make French fries. But we are going to now build the most perfect mushroom, bacon, cheddar burger. Okay, to start with, on the bottom of the bun, we have some chipotle mayonnaise. Some regular mustard. I mean, you can use hot mustard or grainy mustard or whatever you choose. But I like the normal. A little tiny bit of ketchup. Yeah. Then we're going to put, now I have a choice. I have arugula and I have baby spinach. So I'm going to put a little bit of arugula, a little bit of baby spinach. Then we're going to do a lovely slice of red onion, a couple of slices of tomato, on the top of the bun we're going to do 2 slices of lovely bacon. Let me get that. And I break them in half, so it's 4 pieces. And then mushrooms fried in the bacon grease and a little bit of butter. And some avocado oil because they do tend to suck up the fat quite quickly. There we go. Now we're going to add our hamburger patty with the cheddar cheese on top. I hope you can all see that. It looks absolutely amazing. And remember, these are on a fresh bun that I made this morning. So I'm going to just, well, let me get some of the French fries on there. Oh, they're so good. I don't need a whole lot. And there is my very, very best favorite bacon mushroom cheeseburger on a pretzel bun. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little something about maybe making some fresh buns for your burgers. If you enjoyed it, if you learned anything, or if you just had a good time, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You will get notified when I make a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back soon.